Is it a ban of us sim air to mud? Bane of us sim air to mud.
Yeah. I hope someday. It's not in the immediate plans. It would be a pretty significant change to how we do the maps right now. But again, I think it's one of kind of goes back to what I was saying before. It's a question of when, not if. But it won't be anytime soon, I'm afraid, though.
Hey, Wags, I have to say something. So I just got a text from somebody that's very high up in my organization, and he said, anytime you want, he can get you into an Airbus simulator.
Awesome. Do you have any here in Phoenix?
No, but I know a place that flies airplanes that could probably get you anywhere you need to go. So we're pretty global. So
we'll talk offline.
We'll talk offline.
But we don't want to.
He said absolutely.
Dox old Wombat.
And his son is a huge DCS fan. He was very proud. I got a text the other day that he drives his Hornet around on the deck with the probe out after what I said on the last video.
Pass along my thanks. So for you and Gonki, you might like to hear. So the big thing one of the next big things we're adding to the carrier next is all of the plane directors in the brown shirts from the chain down to the cats.
Yeah.
So you actually get the whole startup. You'll get past the first guy, past the next guy.
That's really cool.
And the same thing after you get to the landing box, you'll get a guy bring you out of the box into your parking locations.
Gonki made fun of me because I asked if they really walk in formation like that, and apparently I told him they don't.
Yes. And he believed me. He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's for safety."
100%.
It sounded legit.
Wags, if you're gonna do that, you got to make it to where, like, if you don't listen to the yellow shirt exactly.
We're exactly. That's exactly what I said last week. So here's the thing for you guys. If you, or anybody listening for that matter, if you have a good candidate that has the gravitas of the air boss to do those comms, we're looking for a voice actor.
Wombat. I
think Wombat. You might. I mean,
Wombat's it. We just did quid pro quo. You get him in the Airbus sim. Like, we're just making deals here. Shaking and baking.
Wombat means something.
Yeah,
that is true. It is an acronym that nobody on the internet has.
We will talk offline.
Okay.
Yeah, let's make this a thing. Can we get a plane captain or crew chief that I could ignore on the ground?
So after we get all the carrier stuff done, that's the next one.
That's the important stuff, Mover.
Just taxi right past him. You know, it's a whole Dos Gringos thing. Sorry for legal reasons, my fellow maintenance people and crew chiefs. That's a joke. I love you guys, and we don't fly without you. Please don't ground me if I ever fly again. Anyway, speaking of things, Wretched Rob says, I see a pattern here. Wombat flies a plane that tries to kill him for 1,000 hours. Then he buys a Mustang. Has his wife tried to kill him too?
First one, not the second.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, boy. Brian, thank you, Brian. Thanks for doing this, guys. Are you aware of Star Citizen? Has anyone played it? Wags, do you play other games?
I do.
Did you say that?
Absolutely.
What kind of genre do you like?
Oh boy, action adventures. Like last game I just got done with was Jedi Survivor. That was a lot of fun.
Really?
Yep.
Are you a console or PC guy?
Oh, PC 100%.
Mass Effect, you ever played that? Or are you looking forward to Starfield or anything?
Yeah, I like the first two, actually the first three, but then when they did the next one, Andromeda, it left me a bit
that
flat.
one was, we don't even, that's like Airwolf Season 4. We don't talk about that.
Yeah. Then some of the Forza stuff, I enjoy some of the driving games, but not like sim driving. I suck too much at the driving sims.
iRacing? You don't ever do the iRacing
No, it's a little too, I'm bad at it.
Yeah.
And it's the big ones.
Janitor.
And actually waiting for, what's it called? Coming from Bethesda, Starfield. That's the big one.
Starfield. Oh yeah, I'm real big on that one. Janitor's back. So DoD banner does include there's a whole story behind videos.
There's not
you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait
not
a
enough
couple of months.
Big enough. At least 2 years. You got to wait.
Is it 2 years? Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 years. Hey, Wags, will we ever be seeing a Korea map? Which I think you spoke to that. That's the same. Oh, you will?
Oh, we will. We have several maps before, which I think are going to be really cool. But, Korea, Vietnam, they'll come. They will come.
Vietnam.
Absolutely.
It's my homeland.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Gonky, you could be the voice actor for that.
I'm a little too American.
Yeah, again, Vietnam and Korea are not in work right now, but they will come.
Right. We don't want to start that rumor.
Yeah, I don't want.
We're not going to
deal with all that.
You got to be careful. There's 600 people watching right now.
There's people. Trust me. You say the littlest thing on this channel, and my God, you will not hear the end of
Wombat is.
Marty, we have repercussions of this tomorrow.
Bushwick says, "Can you please make the F4F-3 so my dad can stop asking about my progress on it in Aircraft Factory 99 that he bought me like 20-something years ago?" I don't know what any of these words mean except for the F4F-3.
What's the Hellcat?
Yeah, what's an Aircraft
Factory 99 though?
I don't understand.
Aircraft.
Okay. All right, we'll move on. Tony, thank you. Just appreciate the support. By the way, we're simulcasting 2 channels, so in case anybody's Razor Navy Rigger call sign Beast. Hey Wombat, can the E2 hatch be opened at altitude? I'd love to do a Hawkeye Halo.
It can be, and I know that for a fact because I almost lost one by trying to put it back in airborne. Yeah, we were flying.
Take notes, Wags.
Interest back, and the instructor at the RAG asked me if the hatch was stowed, and I was like, yeah, of course, because I was in the back because we would go front to back, and it wasn't. And then about 5 minutes later, I'm like, I guess I should stow it so he doesn't find out. And I pulled it out in the suction, and I almost lost the whole thing out the ditching hatch over Virginia Beach, which would have been.
Dude, is it not pressurized?
We were low. I mean, and it's Grumman. I mean, just because an airplane's pressurized doesn't mean it holds pressure. Those are two very different things. Like, come on. Stop acting like an Air Force guy.
Right?
What's that?
In DCS? There's a C-130. That's the only flyable cargo plane right now.
Yes, there's a free mod out now, but a full-on DCS version is coming down the pipe.
Can you throw people out the back?
I can ask.
I'm curious. I mean, will you be able to like?
Definitely cargo. That's one of the big things we actually had to program in for the third party was that ability. But in terms of actually, probably.
Because how cool would that be, right? You get thrown out the back and then you fight on the ground.
We're working on another project where we are doing paratroopers. So it should have the same technology. I'll need to get back to you on that one.
That's awesome,
cool.
man.
That'd
be really cool. This is for you, Gonky. Me
Plexi.
and Archeronian from Plexi will get your DCS chops up to speed so you can finally beat Mover. Let's go.
Yeah, it's gonna
take more than $4.99 for that. Plexi. We're clear.
I'll try your patience as a student. Just ask Corky.
Yeah. We WWE Raw 1123 Wags and Crew. Are you guys looking forward to the logistics side of DCS? Is upcoming with the Hurricane Chinook.
Absolutely.
What does that mean, Wags? What's the logistics side of DCS? Like moving pallets of stuff to put them in place, or?
Yep. So we have a system right now called warehouses, which is kind of like the first big step. But what we want to do is we want to expand that to a whole more logistics frame, not just for carriers like Hercs and Hercules, but also it's going to be important for a dynamic campaign where you can actually have players taking a part in dynamic campaign to do resupplies as well.
Wow.
So Wags, you're literally trying to make DCS like the world.
Digital combat sim. It says it right in the name, Gonky. Digital combat simulator. He's going to simulate all the combat.
That's what we want to do.
Does that mean the real combat will stop? Because that'd be awesome.
That would be cool.
Dude.
Just settle all your disputes
online.
in DCS. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say though, and I would, to the point about get your DCS chops up to speed, people are always in the comments like, Mover, I kick your butt. Growling Sidewinder would kick your butt. This will kick your butt. And I'm like, yes, this is a very factual statement because it is just different than what we have trained to. Like people that are good at DCS are very good at this. And I do not discount anything because we learn by feel. I learned how to drive a car by feel. I learned how to, fly jets by feel. I can turn around and know where the jet is. It's tougher in this DCS.
Yeah. Well, in anything, in the real airplane, there's always someone who can kick my butt.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's funny you mentioned feel too. So little aside story, a buddy of mine, over 4,000 hours in Vipers, I had him to the house a couple of years ago. And I was in one station, he was on the other. We're both in VR, and he has a Viper throttle and a force sensitive stick. F-16
Wind Wing. I got that.
No,
Wind Wing stick. They
it was
sent me one.
the
Awesome.
real simulator stick.
Okay.
And with so many hours in the Viper, we hit the merge. We both go 2 circle. He goes full grunt and literally rips the stick out of the base.
Yes.
Nice.
Because that's the feel he was ready to.
Yeah.
For him, 20 pounds of pressure, that's his 9G. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I don't say that, to disparage people who are doing DCS. I mean, first of all, I've been trained in tactics. So, I do have some training to do this. But the second thing is, if all you're used to is what your eyes, your sight, it's different than those of us that were trained to like, okay, we got sight picture, but what's the feel of the jet? What's the sound? How's it, the buffet on the airframe? There's a lot of other stuff that we relied on for all this time that we're just used to. And it's as somebody who's good at DCS, I will 100% say they will beat me in DCS. And to me, it doesn't, there's no competition.
We have muscle memory that works against us. Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
It's the only memory you have there, me there.
That's true. Valid.
This is wow. Wombat, this one's for you, man. Jazz Buff 23.
Whoa,
thank you.
Jazz,
In
thanks,
late
man.
1957, I was an intercept controller, and we had a UFO event. Scrambled an F-86 Delta, made 2 passes. UFO went from 0 to 1,500. Is that metric? Kilometers per
Those
hour.
are not freedoms per hour, that's for sure.
Not freedom units. More than once. After the event, we were ordered to remove all logbook entries. FIS ordered to destroy all records, logs, and film.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's
just.
So, I was listening to your guys' conversation about that.
And we've now gone to UAPs. God,
yeah.
He's never not going to stop getting emails.
No.
All it takes is money.
And I think Mover said it over and over again. There's so many Trons out there. And if there's anyone out there doing a velocity gate steal or anything like that, of course you're going to have ratings like that. It's, and like you said, Mover, unless there's a correlation between you're seeing the sensors and what your eyes are telling you, I don't know. I'm not sure how much I believe that.
Wags is going to get all the comments.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
The thing is, all I'm saying, and I'm not discounting, Commander Fravor or anybody. All I want to say is that extraordinary claims require at least the basic levels of fact. Like, absolutely. I have to walk into this as a neutral third party and go, I don't know, but please present the evidence. And you can't say
Fravor says
eyewitness.
He doesn't know.
Yeah,
right. That's why it's UAP. So unidentified. Yep. So you take each event and you take all the data. Well, unfortunately, all the events that they've provided to date have all been separate. So they're like, well, he saw this, and then they got the FLIR. And I'm like, well, the FLIR doesn't show anything. Well, then there's a third event. I'm like, but they're not the same event.
Yep.
Show me the correlated data, and let's have an intelligent conversation instead of just, well, they're here, and they've been here this whole time, and it's the greatest conspiracy in the history of the most incompetent bureaucracy in the history of bureaucracies. Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad. I meant for legal reasons, this is a joke, and I'm not. Look, my camera's.
Please don't email me anymore. Please.
Wombat's hiding something, clearly.
Wombat knows personally. Actually, you know what? This flying saucer was actually the dome that just flew off. It went self-aware.
Poor maintenance is what it was. They didn't bolt it down. And...
Modman wants to remind people that Gonki deserves super chats, which they are. All of these are from both channels, by the way, because we're simulcasting. Great show. I appreciate it, but thank you.
We appreciate it, Modman. Thank you.
33 Vortex says, hi, Wags. What then is the progress on the Kola Peninsula map? What about the Eurofighter? I'm not familiar with either with the Kola thing. I know about the Eurofighter.
So the Kola is extreme northwest Russia, like Murmansk area. Okay. So a company called Orbix has a really esteemed history, and so you know them. It took Microsoft, me years, but I finally got them on board to start making maps for DCS, and that's the first map they're doing for us. So does that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, does that mean that eventually we're going to have like the whole world? Like I can go to New Orleans and fly as a...
Well, okay. So that's a different project. So we're doing Eagle Dynamics. We're doing another map of the entire world.
Oh,
that's gonna be
cool. Because Orbex does that. I mean, that's why when you said that, they take regions and make it high fidelity.
Yeah, they do high fidelity of certain regions, exactly. But we're going to be doing a separate map, not a regional map of the entire world. And that's what we've been working on that technology now for a couple of years.
Jeez. There's so many people
would you link that with like Google Earth kind of thing to get like super high? I guess you could really.
So I'm not exactly sure which assets the team are using, but yeah, we'll be using different meshes and textures and GIS data to build those maps. But the trick is, unlike some other companies that do world maps, we have to do maps that are essentially destructive at the same time. Because whether it's a bridge or a building or what have you.
Oh, yeah.
So
destructive is when you hit your target, Gonky. That's the...
You can
see why there was confusion.
You can be perfectly destructive off range, Wombat. It doesn't have to hit the target. It has to hit something.
Come on.
Right.
Anything can be a target, technically.
That's true.
Will that integrate weather and traffic as well? I mean, because now you're starting to talk.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you're just the simulator. You know, there's no digital combat. You're just the simulator. Is that?
Yeah, I'm not sure about traffic or weather. We haven't really got to that point yet. Right now, we're just kind of doing the physical world. But at the same time, we'll still continue doing the regional maps because, we do maps for like World War II. We want to do some, Vietnam era maps as well. And obviously, you can't do those maps based on different map data that's currently available. So, both will be in parallel. But anyways, Orbix is making good progress. They actually released a bunch of screenshots just a few days ago. And it's looking really, really nice. And so actually my first sim was Jane's F-18, and that's where the theater of combat took place, was that same area. So for me, it's actually kind of going back to where I started map-wise.
Wow. And Eurofighter is was that Razbam? Who's doing?
No, so Heapler is doing that in cooperation with a different company. But right now, they've really got their hands full with the F4 Phantom.
I just want to know when the Kiowa's coming out. I mean, that thing's been on pause for like 4 years now. I've been waiting for the thing. I'm super excited about that one.
Yeah. So last I talked with the folks over there, they had some health issues with one of their key programmers. Yeah, and that kind of put it back a bit. And we did an evaluation and gave some feedback, and they're going to be working on that. So it's coming. It's just taking a bit.
Man, there's so many people with questions. Wags, you're a popular guy. Lego Man 1992. Thank you. Says, Wags, thanks for doing this. Really took interest in flight sim programming, missile physics simulation. Do you have any good book recommendations? So far, I've only been looking at publicly available DOD.
Oh, boy. There was a physics book on, not physics, but performance and operation of missiles. And I can't remember the top of my head.
The missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't at all times.
Yeah, send me, whoever sent that, send me a message on the chat and our forum. And by then I'll remember the name of that book and I'll send it to you.
That's awesome. See, Wags is a man of the people. Solidus62, thank you. I'm so happy y'all started this podcast. Been watching every episode. And look, Gonky so far. I jinxed it. Been watching every episode. Have y'all ever done anything in Arma 3? I've not. Maybe planned operation where y'all give cast to boots on the ground. But you know what, though? When Wags finally gets dudes on the ground, we'll do that. In fact, I sent Gonky a picture today for my new military job. I've got, like, camo, so I'm ready. That'll start some rumors. Will the new F-18 pilot model be as sexy as Gonky? That was
never.
Not possible. He flies better.
Not possible.
Not possible.
Not possible.
So he flies better.
He just flies around with his mask hanging. Like he never
looking in the mirror.
That does bring a question though, because Gonky and I have seen this. Why can we not eject and then rock'em sock'em robots? Because I want the two dudes to fight when they're on the ground.
That's coming.
I'll put that into your.
Please put that as a request. Specifically,
it'll come right after the Hawkeye.
Well, that would be like 5 people fighting. That's 5 dudes that are fighting. Or
dead on Wombat.
Marcus says, did any of you used to play the 1993 PC game Dogfight?
I did.
What other airplane PC games did you fly?
That was a fun one.
Ago?
I still remember. That was actually one of the first multiplayer flight sims I ever played. Yeah, if I remember right, you could do the Harrier, you could do the Mirage 3.
Oh, wow.
What were the other ones? It was like four aircraft, and you could dogfight them with like a serial port between computers.
Wow.
My favorite was Chuck Yeager's Air Combat.
I think that was it. Oh, God, that was so good.
That was my favorite. I played that thing for hours.
That was so good.
Donkey, what now?
I'd have friends over to my house just to play that with them.
Chuck Yeager's Air Combat. It was awesome. Like he'd appear in the upper right and like, man, it's at your 6 o'clock. Do something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
anywhere from.
Max, I don't want to interrupt. Donkey's talking about playing it a week ago.
No, dude, this is like 1990. What do you think, Wags? 92?
Yeah, around 92 or so. Yeah,
I had a Gateway 486, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
We'll do it probably.
The only thing I remember about the Sims back in the day, other than Microsoft Flight Sim, which I played a lot, but most of the combat games were story based. Because was it Nova that had the F-22 Lightning 2 game?
Oh yeah, Nova Logic,
and all the Janes and stuff. Those were all like you played a campaign. There was this huge backstory behind everything you were doing,
right.
And that was kind of what, because multiplayer wasn't a thing. Right. I mean, other than dial up to somebody else. Did you have any involvement in any of the Jane stuff with the story when you were doing the Hornet, or was it? Because I think by then they'd kind of gotten away from the story a little bit, didn't they?
Not as much of a story. We had a lot of cutscenes and things like that, if I remember right. You know, of course, intro videos and that sort of thing. And then the lead designer and I, Chris Martin, we were the 2 designers on the project. But mostly what we did was, designing the systems of the aircraft, the missions, the campaigns, that sort of thing. But really didn't have story. So there was like another Origin game. It was an S16 game, Strike Commander.
Oh,
remember? Oh. So it was very much a light sim, but heavy story, very heavy story.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. The 90s were all about the story.
Yeah, a lot of
kids these days will never know.
Yeah.
Womboss, that's for you. Keep up the great work, guys.
This is my claim to fame. I can't wait.
Have you ever heard of a rumbling of an S3 flyable being produced for DCS? You guys should take it easy.
It would be ahead of the Hawkeye, but still pretty low down the list.
I love it.
I endorse that. I'm not even mad.
Oh man!
Only truth on this podcast. I love it.
This is and Brian says, "Is there any way to simulate the buffeting of the jet with? I think it already does that. Doesn't it? I thought mine was seat rumbler.
Yeah, unless it got broken or something. Yeah, it should be in there.
Yeah,
that's a thing. And then Janitor's back. Thank you. Says freedoms per hour. I tune in for the content. Stay for the Wombat.
There you go.
And then A-Rock says we need to get Wombat into DCS at some point.
Absolutely.
That is the only fair trade. If he gets you into a sim, you got to put him in.
Absolutely.
And he needs to at least be the LSO.
Well, we got so actually the LSO is Jello.
And Casmo is the Apache, right?
He is the CPG in our 64.
I think with my esteemed career, Air Boss makes
You'll
sense.
You'll be Air Boss. Right? We'll make that happen.
Makes
That's
sense.
The only way it makes sense.
I don't know if there is a way that I could feel better giving back to the Navy than being the DCS Air Boss. There's 2 people on this chat that understand what I'm talking about.
Wombat, you'd be perfect. Perfect.
You need to have Gonky as the F-15 Wizzo voice when you guys finally do that. Oh boy, eject me, because you're the Wizzo now. Goose, I'm sorry.
That's funny.
That happens.
And thanks, Dad Spartan Gamer. And I finally caught up. We're actually back on track. Wags, I'm sorry for keeping you this long, but if you got time, man, you're like a great guest, a wealth of information. So let's see. We've already talked about all this stuff. I got a voice message. Let me play
Does this person survive or no?
It's from Vlad.
The last one. Oh, okay.
This is from Vlad. The other guy got cut off midstream. I hope he's okay.
Just take a moment of silence for your last voice message.
All right, here we go. Here's the question.
Hey there, Movie and Gonky. Got a show for you to review. You might not like the show itself. It's Skycrawlers, 2008 animated Japanese film directed by Mamoru Oshii. Great music. Story's kind of sappy and silly. Suggest you check the Wikipedia entry on it first. And I think you'll love the dogfight scenes. In fact, I know you'll love the dogfight scenes. Okay, Skycrawlers, 2008. Go see it. If you like what you see, let's give a review, please. And
actually, he had more. I hit the thing. I will say I don't have to like what I see to do it, because I'm about to do this Call to Duty, and I just watched. I looked at the picture, and I've already got about a million things to talk about. So.
Oh, is that the one using DCS?
Are you really doing that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I can't wait. That's going to be as good as the Top Gunner.
Wait, is that the one you sent me to look at?
For the record, we did not give them permission. That has
great.
Nothing to do with us.
Wags, do I have your permission to ruin that movie?
Absolutely.
Dude, that bums me out because you're going to get canceled. Your channel's going to get shut off. That's my prime source of getting book sales.
By the way,
all's going to fall away.
Go. Where's the banner?
Such a bummer.
Where's the banner? trmatson.com. Buy a book.
Wags, I need this Airbus thing to work because I need a fallback. It's a fact.
Wags, you guys need to at least incorporate Wombat into your entire series and tell it probably his books too. I mean, you really can't afford not to at this point.
I think it's out of the question at this point.
Yeah.
I'll get you in a sim. Does that count for anything?